So the next up is Ryan Eareheart from Mana Foods on the produce scoop. Ryan.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks, Justin. I really appreciate all the tips on the taro. So I'll be able to pass that on to some customers. We can sell some more of Jerry's taro, which is beautiful taro. It's amazing. Really, really nice. And it's really a pleasure to be able to have a customer come in and say, "Oh, do you have any taro?" And then to be able to just walk them over and say, "This is, you know, local, organic, like totally awesome taro," and the customer's elated. We have a lot more local people that are always shopping at the store, like that kind of don't really fit the general description of the Mana Foods customer, your typical ones. And it's really exciting seeing more and more people come into the store and buy, buying local and organic just because, their friends said, "Hey, you gotta go check out, these guys got good produce or good stuff," and they're like, "Oh, it's that organic stuff," But it's really inspiring to see so many more people getting turned on to local and organic food. And the food safety issue is like a huge concern. I really appreciate Bill bringing that up. And to say that we can't, basically what they're saying is if we have animals mixed with our vegetables or any part of the process, like if you have an orchard and you have chickens or goats cruising around underneath, that's bad. That's not the right way. That's not safe. And that seems like a huge concern to me, like a big, red alert. Like, because how else are we going to be sustainable? Like, where else are we going to be getting our, nitrogen from? We have to import it from the mainland. And what about blood meal and bone meal? Like, those are animal products, and like we can't use those. So essentially, they're saying agriculture or organic agriculture is forbidden. Like, so that's definitely can't be the direction that we're going, and I, really would like to see somebody try to enforce that, because I don't think we're going down that easy. I know there's going to be plenty of resistance to that, because that's the only really truly sustainable way. Is you're going to have to be able to incorporate local manures in order to get nitrogen in a sustainable way. So certainly, I don't require you to be food safe certified to sell to Mana Foods, unlike Costco. And when it comes down to it, if somebody's coming and knocking or checking or whatever they're doing, it's we're not stopping because somebody says that you can't do this. I mean. What's happened to La Lima Farms? That's that's a crime. You can't be shutting down. Those are good people producing really high quality food, and that's what, like Jonathan said, it's a model for what should happen. And, I really hope that they can get back doing what they really need to be doing for the community. The community really needs this out there. And as far as the local produce, it's amazing as ever, so thank you everybody for participating and allowing us to have local produce. We still seem to be hitting a steady stride of about 50% of even through the summer months. Maybe 48 a couple times, but man, 50% local in the peak of summer. We got all these cherries and peaches and grapes and all these goodies from the mainland. We still have enough local supply coming in, and I'm very grateful and very optimistic. I know there's a lot of you out there that are like really charging, really working hard, and you have stuff like building up myself, my personal farm. I've been working really hard, putting in thousands of hours, working, growing food. We got my bananas are now being marketed at Mana Foods, or selling local, organically managed Cavendish bananas, which is I chose that variety as a good one because it's a very difficult banana to grow and market in a retail experience. Apple bananas, people are a little bit more forgiving, but generally with the big bananas, people are a little bit more picky. It's not perfect. It's got a small spot on it or something like that. Learned and done a lot of research and figuring out how to do it the right way. and get them looking good. And it's exciting to be able to see where there's a hole in the market, and to be able to get something in there and fill it. Otherwise, I don't like buying, bananas from Oahu or off island. It's great that it's local, but I think we should be able to produce them here in Maui. Anybody else who's growing Cavendish, we're happy to talk to anybody else about some of the techniques and tips about how to get that, because I certainly don't have enough to even supply the store, just like a small percentage, because it is such a huge thing. It's the #1 best-selling item in any grocery store in America. Is standard Cavendish banana. It's pretty much every shopping cart that goes to the register has bananas. And it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one to do. So how do you help other people to be able to get those to market? If anybody has any interest in that. And is there anybody that has any questions about anything related, local produce, about what you're growing, what we're looking for, or anything?
If I was to consider a small startup farming, that's kind of what you were mentioning, Cavendish, but what would be a good, not common crop that would be in need?
Repeat the question, Mark.
Yeah. So what's a good common crop that would be in need that someone starting out could grow? Well, there is a lot of things. Certain things are it's tricky. A lot of people are growing lettuce, and lettuce is pretty easy to grow. It doesn't require a ton of nitrogen, so you can actually get good yields off of it. A lot of people doing aquaponics are producing a lot of lettuce. So we have a pretty good supply of local lettuce, but I can't say that there's not room for more, because people are stuff happens. You got a certain bug or certain disease, something happens. The birds, the pheasants come in, the deer come in. Mow your lettuce patch down. So that's a pretty easy one. But something that I'm really looking for would be like onions, potatoes. Onions are take a long time to grow. It takes a lot of patience, and if you can do your research and figure out a way to do it, that's a big one. I hate importing stacks. Look in the back room, it's man, this person gets this big stack of onions, and potatoes right next to it. Oh, it's terrible. So that's as far as the 50% of stuff that I import, onions and potatoes. I hate it. Broccoli, that's another one. It's a big one. We do have local supply, but it's not enough, because broccoli is really popular. It's it's a big crop. There's definitely room for good quality broccoli, and do the homework. Do it right. There's just like your garden stuff. It might not always turn out to be the best quality, but if you're paying attention and really doing it right, you can do it. Because the guys are doing it and being very successful at it, putting out really beautiful stuff. Peppers. Anybody growing peppers yet? It's just so in need. I think that Jerry would probably concur that you probably need a greenhouse to do that, but it's not a huge investment. You want to do it right. It's on my agenda is to get a good little screened-in greenhouse and be able to at least try some peppers. I won't be able to nearly meet the demand with because I have other things to do with my time too. But that's a big one. Peppers, potatoes, onions. The local squash, having some different varieties I like. I wouldn't say plant a ton of local squash, but I can usually always squeeze in some local squash. It's hardy. It has a good shelf life, so if I can't buy it this week, maybe I can buy it next week. To make it work, because it does have a better shelf life and can typically grow well if you manage it well and watch out for the fruit flies and pickle worms. Other things that are in need. The
celery,
cauliflower, celery always, and carrots. We've got some guys growing some carrots. It's good, and we're trying to. One farmer up country, we're trying to sell his carrots, and he's like, Ryan, it's what do I got to do? I got 2,000 pounds of carrots. I'm like, oh, well, at that price, we can buy this much, but he's got a lot right now, so we got him on special, and we got him, he just matched the price of the mainland stuff, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's sell 2,000 pounds of local carrots. They might be a little bit smaller, or not quite the same shapes, but it's part of of his rotation this year. So. And anybody else? Any other questions?
How about the sweet potatoes?
Yes, sweet potatoes. Yeah,
Okinawan.
it's a tricky crop. We've got a couple guys working on it, and there's a sweet potato weevil. Would you say that's the biggest challenge for that? Because other than that, man, they grow. You know, it doesn't seem like anything really affects the leaves, and they seem like they grow. You can get good yields, but the thing is, if the sweet potato weevil gets in there, it's not marketable, essentially. Not in a retail environment. Maybe you can like cut off pieces and process it or something, but that's a lot of work. But if you can do it if you haven't, or nobody around you has grown sweet potatoes for a while, and you got an area that has a lot of organic matter, and certainly, I say do a trial on sweet potatoes. They grow really easy. I mean, you at least get something that you can eat if you can do it really good the first time. Then the pepper weevils, or not the pepper weevils, but the sweet potato weevils haven't found you yet, so you usually get a good first crop on it. Then you just want to make sure that you don't plant it again in that area, for several seasons. Would you have a recommendation on that, Barry? Like 3 years, 4 years?
We move ours around a lot, and the buggers still find it.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. But if if you're in an area that is clean and doesn't have it, it's like that's what I've seen in my experience with some growers that really went for it. It's like, man, the first crop's hot. It's really nice. But then after that, if they're not paying attention, it's really sanitation. If you see bugs, you gotta get rid of them. If you're gonna do it organic and you don't want to have to be, a slave to pesticide. And there's not a lot of pesticide I think works for the sweet potato weevil because it's like inside the stem. So when you spray it on the surface, like they're still alive on the inside. So I don't think the organic stuff is super good at controlling that. So it's a matter of eliminating it and getting it out, watching out for it, knowing what the damage looks like. So when you see it, you can remove it, and then you're not propagating and spreading it. Anybody else?
What does it look like?
The pepperweed. You'll see like a hollow stem. I mean, like that's my experience with it. It's like when I'm looking at the vine, it's generally not the newest, freshest growth. You go back a little bit closer to the ground, and you see the stem, maybe it looks cracked or whatever, and if you squeeze it, it's like a little bit hollow, and you can kind of peel it open a little bit and see inside, like you see something's been digging tunnels in there. And that's, you see some tunnels, you're like, oh, okay, you got a problem. So then you can generally trace it, one way or the other, and find, a live specimen, and you can evaluate, But a lot of people are just like, oh, you just take it out and throw it over here. Well, it's going to finish its life cycle and, come back and find you, And as Jerry was saying, like, if you're going to stop it and not grow it, to let the land rest, you got to make sure that you get rid of your sweet potato weeds that come back after you harvest from little broken pieces in the ground or whatever, because if you grow some other crop, like broccoli or something on top of that, and those weeds are still there, they're still a host for that insect, and so you can wait 5 years, but if you still had a couple little things popping up as weeds, they're still gonna be right there to pounce on it once you put a big amount of it. Anyway, thank you guys very much.